What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about the differences between the Gen 2 MCX and the Gen 1 MCX bolt carrier groups. We're going to take them both apart and we're going to show you the internals of them and just kind of how they work and what you're doing. So this is the Gen 2, this is the Gen 1 bolt carrier group. You'll notice some minor differences right off the bat here. You got a firing pin safety right here. If you turn them on the side, you'll notice this does not open up at all. This opens up, allows you access to your cam pin. And the other difference, you'll be able to see it's internal. The firing pin on this one should have a spring on it. This firing pin won't have a spring on it. It's just a few added safety features because they were running into some problems. So they updated their bolt carrier group system that way. The only tool you really need for this, I choose to use an Allen wrench. You can choose whatever you want. All you need is something that'll pull out the cotter pin on that and push this pin through from this side on the Gen 2. So we'll start with the Gen 1. You do have to decompress these recoil springs and take these off on this one. The Gen 2, luckily, you don't really have to do that because you can get to that cam pin right there by just pulling this up. So, but if you did want to take those off, it's the same thing either way. You're just going to decompress the springs, push that off, decompress this spring, push that off, and then you take your springs out. You do have to pull these rods out. Like, you can just do that, but as you go to put that back on, those rods will not fit. You have to slide them in. I'll show you here because this is a mistake I made before. So these rods, as they're on this, they won't go over. So you have to put this little pin back on and then slide them through. This way they're in these grooves, because otherwise they won't fit down into the grooves if you just leave it all together like that. So take everything apart. Don't get your springs tangled up together. I did that before as well. From here, you just got to take out this cotter pin. This is just holding your firing pin in place. Flip it upside down, give it a good shake. Out comes the firing pin. From here, the firing pin is what holds your cam pin in place, so that should be loose. Turn it to the side and just shake that loose as well. Just like that, cam pin, and then the bolt comes right out. So the cam pin is what holds the bolt in there, and the firing pin is what keeps the cam pin in place, and then this little cotter pin is what keeps the firing pin in place. That's how easy it is to disassemble this. So we'll go over the reassembly now. There is a right and a wrong way to put this bolt back in. You'll learn pretty quickly as you throw it in there. If the cam pin doesn't just kind of drop in nicely like that, then you need to rotate your bolt 180 degrees. So from there, you're going to want to turn that cam pin horizontal again. And you want to make sure that it lines up nicely so that your firing pin, as it goes in from the back right there, it fits in. So now that cam pin is stuck in there. You can't rotate it anymore because the firing pin's in it. And then come take your cotter pin, throw that in here. And if the cotter pin doesn't go in all the way, see how it's kind of stuck like that? Just shake it a little bit. And what that's going to do is move your firing pin forward or back just enough for that cotter pin to kind of slide into place. You do kind of have to fight with it a little bit sometimes. Sometimes it just goes right in. You can also adjust the firing pin by hand back there and then push it in just like that. So from back here, you can push the firing pin forward or back. That's it for the bolt, the cam pin, and the firing pin. So then you're going to come back over here. This goes this way. And you'll see as you're doing it, there's really only one way this fits on because these grooves fit into that. So you can't really screw that up. Put your rods back in. Like so. And then the easiest way to do this is just kind of put it on the table, and that's going to just help you decompress the springs. And if it falls out like that, you do have to restart. Throw your rods back in. Hold on to that so it doesn't fall back out. Throw your springs back over it. And when you decompress the springs, you want to just pull that down, hold it there for a second, and then grab this guy and make sure it's all lined up. That's good. And then that's in place. The other side now. Throw that spring on. Decompress it down. And then you can pull this up to make your life easier instead of trying to push that other pin down. And then boom, Gen 1 MCX bolt carrier group, disassembly and reassembly. It's really all there is to it. It's pretty easy, not very hard to do, just a lot of steps. If you kind of forget or misplace a step, you are going to be kind of screwed. So just take it slow, and that's all there is to it. And now we'll do the Gen 2. So here's your Gen 2 bolt carrier group disassembly. You don't have to take the recoil springs out for this, which is nice. You can just get to that cam pin pretty easily. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find that pin on this side, poke it through, and that does not come all the way out. So and then this is that firing pin safety lock right here. So see how it's not coming out? Pull up on this, and your firing pin drops right out. And this is that spring, just that little added safety spring that they put on there. From here, come on over to this side, open that up, pull the cam pin out, pull the bolt out, and that's all there is to it. It's kind of nice that they added this so you don't lose that during disassembly. You know, obviously you got to be careful with the Gen 1. If you take that cotter pin out, you don't want to lose that because that's going to screw everything up. Because that is really what's holding everything together, honestly. If you lose that pin, granted you have the firing pin safety lock as well on this one versus that one. But this one, you really don't have any other means. If that little pin goes out and your firing pin comes out of place, your gun's not going to operate. So yeah, that's really all there is to the Gen 2. Much simpler without taking those recoil springs out. So, and then same thing, throwing it back together. Just want to line up that hole right there. Open these up. Slide your cam pin in. Like so. Turn it horizontally. Throw your firing pin back in, and you do have to raise that little firing pin safety right there in order to get that to go back in. Give it a shake, make sure it's in there, and then press this one back in. You do have to press the firing pin in a little bit more to get that firing pin lock to sit in place there. But that's all there is to it for the Gen 2. Honestly, a little bit simpler, a little bit easier. I do like that better than the Gen 1 just because these recoil springs are kind of a pain. It's not the end of the world. Obviously, you can do it. It just makes life a little bit easier when you can open that up to get that cam pin out there, clean what you want to clean. So that's the differences in the bolt carrier groups in the Gen 1 and Gen 2 MCX and how to disassemble and reassemble them. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.